Hello and welcome. I'm Lacey, and today's practice is a full body flow. We're going to work throughout the body, building strength and mobility. Let's get started. Begin in a comfortable seated position and close your eyes. Sit tall and let your shoulders roll back so there's more space in the front side of your shoulders and your chest. Start to take deep breaths, moving into your chest and then all the way down into your belly as you inhale. A nice slow, deep exhale. And even after you take just a couple of those deep breaths, you'll start to feel a little shift. You might relax, slow down, and become more present and mindful. We'll use this technique of breathing deeply throughout the practice to keep that mindfulness going, to really stay present to the sensation, to your movement and your alignment, and to what you feel. And just take a few more of those deep breaths here. Open your eyes and hook your fingers lightly around your ears. Bring your elbows together or close together, opening up some space in your upper back. And then as you inhale, open the elbows apart, squeeze the shoulder blades together. Exhale, draw the elbows in. Inhale, open up. Exhale in. Inhale, open. Keep going. You're using your breath and you're working the movement into the shoulders and the upper back, starting to warm up those muscles and get those joints moving. As you come back to center, take your hands interlaced behind your head. Gently bring your chin downward, and you're just applying a little bit of pressure to stretch the back of your neck. Be mindful and careful of those smaller neck muscles. You don't want to overstretch. This is just to nicely open up. Release your hands, bring your head back upright, and let's come on to hands and knees next. On hands and knees, move through a few rounds of cat and cow, allowing your spine to move between flexion and extension. You'll feel the stretch on the front side muscles and on the backside muscles. Then find a neutral position, engaging your core in so your back stays flat. Extend your right leg straight back behind you and extend your left arm forward, trying to maintain that flat back position. Bring your elbow to knee and then extend. Now switch to the other side as you lower your hand and knee. Take your left leg back and your right arm forward. Elbow to knee and extend. and switch sides. Okay, so we're just going to keep alternating. One elbow to knee on each side. And while you're doing this, try to maintain that flat back position, especially when you extend your arm and leg out. You want to try to prevent any sinking in the lower back. And that's just going to keep your abdominal muscles really strong and engaged. And this is going to help wake up and strengthen those abdominal muscles so that throughout the practice, you're using them to create stability, alignment, and strength throughout the body. Okay, let's do 2 more rounds on each side. Come back to that neutral table position on hands and knees, and then lower down onto your elbows, bringing your hands together or interlacing your fingers. Take your elbows about shoulder width apart. Same abdominal strength is pulled in, and then just step one leg back at a time to come into a forearm plank position. Lengthen your chest forward. And then you're going to saw forward and back on the toes. So it's a pretty small movement. You're moving forward a few inches, backward a few inches, and that just allows you to really work into your shoulders, your arms, and your core. Keep holding the strength, but try not to hold your breath. Okay, from here, lower your belly down to the floor. Separate your arms so that you're propped up onto your forearms. Tone your abdomen, tone your glutes, and curl up. So you're opening the front side of the body, but you still want to keep support for your lower back. So you're using your core muscles and glutes to help stabilize as you come up into this gentle back bend. Then from Sphinx pose, slide your hands back so your thumbs are by your ribs. Lower your chest down to the floor. We're going to come back up, this time going into Cobra pose. Use your back muscles to curl your chest up. Squeeze your elbows in. Squeeze all the way into the back side of your legs. And then lift your feet a few inches away from the floor as well. And really work into that back strength. Go ahead and exhale yourself down to the mat and press yourself back into table position on hands and knees. From here, move into your downward facing dog next. Tuck your toes, let your hips rise up and back, and gently start to press downward with your heels. Now, if you want here, you can walk one heel down at a time, just adding a little bit more stretch and movement into the leg muscles. As you do that, keep that tone in your core and let your hips and tailbone lift toward the ceiling, creating lots of length in your spine and upper body. Take a few more breaths here. In downward dog, come up high on your toes and take small steps up to the top end of your mat until you arrive in Uttanasana, your forward fold. Let your neck and shoulders relax. You can hang your arms down or hold onto your elbows or hug your legs. Releasing your arms, very slowly bring yourself all the way up to a tall standing position. Come into mountain pose, a little bit of core strength, legs are pressing down, shoulders back. And so you're feeling tall, you're standing tall, you're still feeling like there's some work throughout the body to come into a really nice strong mountain pose. From here, inhale, stretch your arms up overhead. And then exhale and fold forward. Inhale, come up halfway to a flat back. Exhale, plant your hands, step back to high plank. You're going to chaturanga next. Now you can lower from your toes or from your knees. Lower halfway down or all the way to your belly. And then you can curl up either into cobra pose or upward facing dog. And then press back into your downward facing dog. And we're going to spend about 5 breaths in down dog. If you feel like you're still craving some movement like we did on the first round, you can definitely add in some movement. If not, let yourself settle into the pose, just taking those slow, steady breaths. This time from downward dog, you can choose to walk, step, or hop your feet all the way up to the top end of the mat. Inhale to a flat back. Exhale to fold. Inhale to rise and reach your arms up. And exhale to mountain pose, nice and strong. Inhale, bring your arms up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, step back to plank. Lower down through your variation of chaturanga, halfway or all the way. Inhale to upward facing dog or cobra. And exhale to downward facing dog. From down dog, just like before, step or hop your feet up to the top end of the mat. Inhale to half lift. Exhale to fold. Inhale to rise and reach up overhead. And exhale to mountain pose. We'll do one more round just like that. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, plant your hands, step back. Lower down through chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog or cobra. Exhale, downward dog. From downward dog, step or hop to the top of the mat. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, fold. Now this time, sit back into chair pose. Bend into both legs, and you can have your feet together or about hip distance apart. Use your core to slowly rise, reaching through your arms. And engage your core as you sit back into your legs. 3 more breaths. On your exhale, stand all the way up into mountain pose, releasing your arms. In mountain pose, bring your weight over onto your right leg, and you're setting up for tree pose. So bend your left knee, open the left knee out to the side, and place your left foot against your right leg. You can go lower down by the ankle, or you can bring your foot higher up onto the inner thigh. And then you might bring your palms together in front of your chest, or you might stretch your arms up. Engage strong through your body, but get tall, so you're lengthening and strengthening. From tree pose, bring your hands back to chest center. Draw your left knee forward in front of you and slowly stretch the left leg back behind you as you lengthen your torso forward. Bring your torso and your left leg relatively parallel with the ground. Keep the core strength so you can maintain that flat back position and lengthen. From here, slowly step your left toes back into a lunge. So the left toes will land near the back end of the mat. You can adjust your feet if necessary. Then bring your torso upright and send your arms up overhead for high lunge, driving your feet into the floor as you lengthen up through your arms. Keep taking those same deep breaths that we started off the practice with. From here, exhale, let your fingertips lower down onto the mat. Now your left hand will stay on the mat, or you can place a prop like a block or any other object similar in size. You can place that under your left hand and turn your chest to the right and open your right arm up toward the ceiling, reaching out through your arms. Press through your back leg, keeping both legs strong in that lunge position. From the twist, lower down your right hand and lower your back knee as well. Walk your hands up and onto your front thigh. Bring your spine all the way upright and stay upright as you slowly press your hips forward into the lunge. Exhale, take your hands back down onto the mat. Tuck your back toes under to raise your back knee and step all the way up to the top, arriving in a forward fold. Inhale to a flat back. And exhale to fold forward. Let's come back into chair pose. Bend your legs and sit back. As you come up, reach up, engaging your core. Keep the breath going. On your exhale, stand all the way up to mountain pose, nice and strong. In mountain pose, shift your weight into your left leg for tree pose. Bend your right knee and open it to the side. And slide your right foot up against your left leg. Once you've set up your tree pose, you can bring your palms together or stretch your arms up over your head. Get strong as you lengthen into the balance. Bring your palms back to center and turn that right knee forward. Extend the right leg back behind you as you lengthen your torso forward, bringing yourself more parallel to the floor. You're also engaging those abdominals in, so feel that pull of belly button to spine as you lengthen. Slowly step those right toes to the back end of the mat for your high lunge. Once your feet are set, stretch your arms up, bringing the torso upright. Press down into both feet. We're holding each variation for about 5 breaths, so that's enough time for you to really dig in. You're going to feel the sensation, you'll feel the effort. Exhale, take your fingertips down. The right hand stays on the mat, or you can place a prop under your right hand. Turn your chest to the left and open your left arm toward the ceiling into the twist. Exhale, bring your hand down. Lower down your back knee and walk your hands up onto that front thigh, bringing your torso upright. From the upright position, slowly press your hips forward into the lunge. From the lunge, release your fingertips down to the mat, tuck your back toes and lift up your back knee, and step all the way up to the top of the mat. Inhale to a half lift. Exhale to fold. Let's take it back to chair pose. Bend your legs and sit back. Reach up through your arms. This time, bring your palms together in front of you as you sit back a little more. And twist your left elbow across your right leg. Turn your chest toward the right. Keep sitting back as you twist. Now, taking your gaze down, shift your weight into your right foot and step your left toes all the way back into a lunge position. Now, once you've established the lunge, you do want your torso to lift a little away from the thigh as you go back into the twist, turning your chest toward the right. Exhale to bring your fingertips down. Turn your back foot outward for warrior 2. Take a little time to set up and plant your feet, and then bring your torso all the way up, arms parallel with the floor. Now you're going to be feeling a bit of build up and sensation in that front leg. See if you can press into your back foot a little more as you lunge into warrior 2. And then turn your palms to face up for a few breaths. Okay, go ahead and straighten out that front leg. Turn your right toes in. Then turn both feet slightly outward, bending your elbows and knees into goddess pose. Now right away, engage the abdomen in. press your knees outward and hug your shoulder blades together. And just sit back into the strength of your body. You've got it. You've got the breath. Keep going. Okay, relax that. Straighten the arms, relax the arms, straighten the legs, and turn your feet back to parallel. Place your hands onto hips, and with your knees a little bit softened, let yourself hinge forward slowly and bring your hands down onto the mat. Soften into the forward fold gradually. Feel free to bend your legs as much as you want. Come up onto your fingertips to lengthen. Bring a little more of a bend into your knees so you can slowly place hands to hips and use your leg strength to bring you gradually upright. Now in this upright position, open your arms into five-pointed star. Turn your right toes toward the top end of the mat and turn your left foot in slightly. So it's kind of like the setup for Warrior Two, but we're going to keep the legs straight to go into triangle or Trikonasana pose. Stretch forward a little bit with your right side and bring your right hand to your right leg or to a prop. Then send your left fingertips up toward the ceiling. Engage belly button towards spine. Lengthen out your lower back and reach through your left arm. Looking down, bend your front knee and come up into Warrior Two. Keeping the legs like this, lean your right forearm onto your right thigh and stretch your left arm overhead on a diagonal line. Reach out through that left side. Slide that top left hand onto your hip and look down, lowering your right hand to the mat or onto a prop. Step your back foot up a little closer and place your right hand about 1 foot ahead. Slowly lean your weight forward into your right leg and lift your left leg up to about hip height. Contract that abdominal strength in, belly button to spine. And you can decide whether you keep your left hand to hip or whether you raise your left arm up. Now just take your time, step your left foot back so you can come back into five-pointed star. And then just make your way all the way back to the top end of the mat, finding mountain pose nice and strong. Take a couple of breaths here. Let's go into one more round of chair pose. Once you've set up, bend your legs, sit back, and reach up through your arms. Bring your palms together in front of you as you sit back a little more and twist your right elbow to your left thigh, turning your chest toward the left. Breathe full breaths. Looking down at your feet, shift your weight into your left leg and step your right toes all the way back. Lift your torso a little bit away from your thigh and turn your chest toward the left into the twist. Slowly untwist and lower your fingertips and set up your back foot for warrior two. Once the feet are planted, come all the way up. Stretch your arms out parallel to the ground and press into both feet. Turn your palms to face upward toward the ceiling. Go ahead and relax that front knee, straighten the leg. Turn your left toes in so the feet are parallel, and then turn both feet out slightly. Bend your elbows and knees to sink down into goddess squat. Engage between the shoulder blades. Press the knees out, engaging into the hips, and draw in your core. Hold and breathe. All right, bring it all the way up. Relax your arms and legs. Turn your feet in parallel to each other. And as we go into another forward fold, you might interlace your hands behind your back this time. And as you hinge forward, you can start to draw your knuckles gently back, adding a little more stretch to the front of the shoulder. Slowly bending the knees a little, rise up gradually. Release your arms. As you open up into five-pointed star, turn your left toes toward the top end of the mat. Turn your right foot in slightly, and you're setting up for your triangle pose. Reach a little forward with your left side and bring your left hand to your left leg or onto a prop. Stretch your right arm toward the ceiling. As you look down, bend your front knee and come up into warrior two. Keeping the warrior two legs, lean your left forearm to thigh and stretch your right arm overhead on a diagonal line, reaching out long through your right side and engaging your core muscles in. Then sliding that top right hand onto your hip, look down, lower your left hand to the mat or onto a prop, and step your back foot up a little closer. Position your left hand about 1 foot ahead and lean your weight into your left foot, raising your right leg up to about hip height. Keep the steadiness in your core and work to add some strength to both legs. You can play around with lifting up your right arm or keep that right hand on your hip. From here, step back slowly into five-pointed star, and then return to mountain pose at the top end of your mat. Take a couple of deep breaths. From mountain pose, reach up overhead and then slowly fold forward. In this forward fold position, walk your feet out a little bit wider than your hips, and you can turn your feet out slightly here as well, and lower slowly into Balasana, your squat. If you're comfortable, you can bring your palms together. You can also have your hands planted out in front of you, or you can use a prop underneath your tailbone to add a little extra support and height to your squat. Now you could linger in the squat a little bit longer, or if you'd like to go into Balasana, which is your arm balance, you can follow along with me. And you might be just doing this step by step, maybe even just trying the first few steps, or maybe you're playing around with actually lifting up into the arm balance. To set up for Balasana, start by lifting your hips about halfway and plant your hands onto the mat, just like you would for plank or down dog. With your head down and torso lowered, you can bring your knees onto the triceps, and I like to walk my knees up high, closer to my armpits if possible, just to create a better shelf for the knees to rest on. Roll up onto your toes to slowly bring the weight forward into your hands. Grip with your fingers, and gradually, as you start to feel the weight go into your hands, start to engage more into your inner thighs, squeezing them in, and into your core. And that's going to help you start to raise the feet off of the floor. Now, when you get comfortable with that, you can bring your heels closer to your hips, but you really want to master that strength from the center line. So inner thighs, abdominal strength, that's going to help you a lot in creating the lift and stability of the balance. Take your time, and we're going to meet back in a squat position. And if you've been squatting this whole time, your legs are going to be ready for a break. We're going to go from here into lizard pose. With your hands on the mat, bring the hips up about halfway. Leave your right foot up at the top and step your left foot back. Your hands are going to be to the inside of your right foot, and then you can lower your back knee down from there. Feel free to use props underneath your hands, and you can choose either to be on your hands or lower to one or both of your forearms. Once you've found your optimal body position for this stretch, just linger here for a few more breaths. Slowly rise up to your hands if you lowered down. To add a twist, bring your right hand onto your right leg and turn your chest to the right. Now, option here to bend your back knee. You can add some cushioning under that back knee if this feels really uncomfortable. And you can also reach back with your right hand for the foot. If it's within reach, you can take hold of it. If it's not within reach, you can even just reach your hand and your foot toward each other. Then gently release that stretch and come back around to center. We're going to switch sides. Tuck your back toes to lift your back knee. Step your left foot up to the top and step your right foot back. You can lower your back knee down. Stay on the palms or lower to one or both forearms. Once you're in your alignment, you'll take about 5 breaths here. If you've lowered, lift yourself back up onto your hands and then take your left hand over onto your left leg to add a twist. You can choose to remain there or bend the back knee and play around with reaching back for the foot. Releasing that stretch, come back around to center, and this time take the hips back a little further so you can sweep this left leg around and back behind you to come onto hands and knees. From your hands and knees, walk your knees a bit closer to the top of the mat and just swing your legs around so that you come to a seated position. We're going to lie down on our backs, so just take some time to roll yourself back. And once you are laying back, set up your feet on the mat in a bridge position. Knees bent, feet on the floor, enough space between your heels and your hips so that you're not feeling tucked in really close. This is just going to open up more space for your thighs and knees. Once you're set up in bridge position, curl your tailbone away from the ground, squeeze into your glutes, your butt cheeks, and use those muscles to raise your hips up. Now, as soon as the hips go up, tone in your core, and you're going to use this combined core and glute strength to lift and stabilize your hips and lower back. Take a few more breaths here. And then lower your hips and relax into a comfortable position, taking a short rest. Let's set that up one more time. Bend your legs, placing your feet onto the floor to set up into your bridge. Curl the tailbone away from the floor so the pelvis tilts back, and then squeeze into your glutes and lift, engaging your core to stabilize your rib cage, your lower back, and your hips. Hold here, or if you want to add a little more, bring your weight over into your right leg, let that right leg take over, and play around with lifting the left leg up toward the ceiling. It can be straight or bent, it's up to you. Push strong through that right leg. All right, try the other side. Bring the left foot down. Shift your weight into your left leg. Let it take over, and then raise the right leg up. Keep that left leg super strong. Bring the right leg down and let your hips lower. Take a short rest. This time, as you bend up your legs and bring your feet onto the floor, just walk your feet out a bit wider than your hips. Let your knees fall in toward each other. And option to bring your arms overhead into cactus position as well. And just rotate the knees from right to left. You can go at your own pace. You might feel a little stretching in the outer hips or sometimes in the inner thigh muscles as you go into these rotations. Come back to center, walking your feet in, and slowly curl your knees into your chest. As you curl the knees in, it might feel good to roll around on your back muscles and just offer them a gentle massage. Keep your right knee held into your chest and place your left foot down onto the mat, just holding that right knee for a few breaths. Then cross your right ankle over your left thigh for thread the needle. You can allow that right knee to move away from you. And you can either leave the left foot on the ground or bring your legs toward you and thread your arms through so that you're holding on to your left leg. You can play around with the angle of the legs, slightly angling to one side or the other, if that allows you to pinpoint the stretch with more accuracy. We'll give this stretch a little more time, so just make sure it's gentle and comfortable. Keeping your right ankle crossed, lower your left foot back to the mat and wrap your right leg over more tightly. Lift and shift your hips a little bit to the right and let your knees twist over to the left-hand side. From there, you can open your right arm out to the right, gently pressing your shoulder blade downward. If this feels uncomfortable with your legs crossed, you can uncross and stack your legs instead. Slowly bring your twist back to center, unwinding the legs. And then curl your left knee to your chest, holding your knee to chest for a few breaths. Cross your left ankle over your right thigh for thread the needle. You can choose to leave the legs like this, or bring the legs toward you and interlace your hands around your right leg. Pinpoint a comfortable, gentle stretch and linger there. Lower your right foot down to the mat and wrap your left leg over more tightly. Lift and shift your hips a little bit to the left and let your knees twist over to the right hand side. From there, you can open your left arm out to the left and gently press your left shoulder blade downward. Slowly bring your twist back to center and unwind your legs. And stretch all the way out into Shavasana for your final rest. Make yourself comfortable, and we'll take a few minutes to relax here, and then I'll bring your attention back. And slowly start to bring some movement back throughout your body. Take a few of those nice deep breaths. And eventually stretch your arms all the way over your head, reaching out through your fingertips. Bend into both of your knees and roll slowly onto one side. From your side, come up slowly to a seated position. As we come to seated, take a moment for gratitude that you were able to spend this time on your mat, to move your body, and to really stimulate your energy. Thank you so much for practicing with me today. Namaste.